Nick Sorensen is one of the Niners' biggest issues because I don't think they have a choice at this point. I think they have to fire him. He was doing okay. 12 points against the Rams. Do or die game. He did a pretty good job against Matthew Stafford until the end of the game when, of course, he couldn't stop him. Sorensen's awful at the end of games. But for a while, it seemed like he was figuring it out, and maybe it was too soon to write him off. But then the Niners get eliminated from the playoffs, and the defense just tanks. 29 points they give up against Miami, 40 against Detroit, and then 47 against Arizona. I mean, I don't see how they don't fire him. And again, I feel for him because, like, he's what Kyle Shanahan wanted. Shanahan wants to be vanilla and predictable on defense, and I don't know why. And Sorensen does that. I don't think he has a whole lot of, like, autonomy. I think he's essentially coloring between the lines that Kyle Shanahan draws. But if Fred Warner and Nick Bosa are talking about how embarrassed they are, and it's not their fault, then they're probably going to have to fire their second DC in 2 years. And once you start going through coordinators every year, I mean, I think it's pretty clear that the head coach is next. You can't fire a defensive coordinator every single year. You can fire 2 in 2 years, but the third guy's got to stick. And if he doesn't stick, then it's you. It's not, Nick Sorensen is a problem, but he is not the root cause of the 49ers problems. Kyle Shanahan. And here's the thing with Sorensen is, like, he applied for the job in 2023. And the Niners thought, no, not good enough. That's why they went outside the facility, outside the organization, to hire Steve Wilks. They kept Nick Sorensen, but they did not want Sorensen calling plays, game planning week to week, because he wasn't good enough, didn't have the experience. This guy was a special teams coordinator. Then the Niners lose the Super Bowl, and Kyle Shanahan can't blame himself because he's incapable. So he fires Wilks in a fit of rage or whatever, an emotional decision, and promotes the guy he had decided wasn't good enough for the job just 12 months before. So what did you think was going to happen this year? And I think what's interesting about the Niners too is, like, there's something so lifeless about this team, particularly the defense. Nick Bosa said it himself. He said as soon as the season was over and they were out of playoff contention, he went to Miami and played a game, like, with no pulse. He said, I've never done this before. I've never played in a game that didn't mean anything. And I was kind of dead out there. And I needed to, like, recalibrate and figure out a way to play with urgency. It's like, well, yeah, but maybe if you had a coach who had some passion, defensive coordinator or head coach, maybe you could feed off of it. Maybe that's what he was longing for when he was looking at the Lions. Like, man, that Dan Campbell is so passionate. Like, he cried. He just breaks out into tears. He's so happy sometimes. I could feed off of some of that energy because I don't got it right now, and Kyle doesn't have it. He's over there like this, and Nick Sorensen's over here like this. You got two coaches who have no passion between them, no enthusiasm. One's quieter than the other, and the team plays like it, particularly the defense. If they bring in a new D coordinator, could it be someone who has a pulse? Because again, to me, what's the problem with this team isn't necessarily scheme. Does Nick Sorensen call too much zone? Yeah. Does he not blitz enough? Yeah. But the problem with this team is culture. And Kyle Shanahan sets that tone. So what worked in the past? Saleh and D'Amico. Those guys are culture setters. Those guys are enthusiastic. Those guys are passionate. I think they offset a lot of Kyle Shanahan's, what's the word? What he doesn't have. So, Nick, I think you played yourself out of the job. Sorry. Never should have been given this job in the first place. That was, as soon as they made him the defensive coordinator and brought in Brandon Staley to help him just in case, that's when we should have known that something was way off. Who the hell decided that was a good idea? And we had to take it seriously in the offseason. Like, well, it could work. let's not write off Brandon Staley just yet. Maybe the Brandon Staley, Nick Sorensen combination will be better than Steve Wilks. No. It was way worse. And you know what's funny is Brandon Staley, it's unclear what exactly he does here. They say he runs the weekly meeting on Thursdays that's called the ball meeting. If you don't know what this is, it's about the importance of not turning the ball over on offense and forcing takeaways on defense. Yes, this is the real thing. Now, in the past couple of years, Nick Sorensen ran this meeting, and the Niners did force a lot of takeaways. Maybe it's because he had the magic words. I don't know. Maybe it's a complete coincidence, but now it's Staley running that defense, and the Niners haven't forced a takeaway in like 2 months. The one thing they ask him to do, he can't even do it. And I'm sure there's one Chargers fan watching this being like, boom, I could have told you that. So I don't know. But I mean, it all comes back to Kyle Shanahan's overwhelming arrogance. Oh, Brandon Staley was a freaking washout, abysmal failure with the Chargers. He'll work with me. He'll work with me. Oh, the Packers just ran Devondre Campbell out of town. He'll work with me. No problem. No one wants Jake Moody. I'll take him. Everyone else is wrong about Jake Moody. I'm right.